Everybody saying that they like my style. Wanna know how I do it? I smile. While you were out there saying hey, hi, hello, I was getting dressed up in shades of yellow.
Hello.
Hello, Leah. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a bit tired. Went out last night, but yeah, no, good. It's quite an interesting thing to work on a Monday morning. I feel like I've had a break from that kind of thing. You look so glamorous. I can't believe you look this good on a Monday morning.
I had to go to the school run wearing makeup, which was...
Did everybody like stop you and like was there that sort of whole like, wow, has she had a glow up?
No, it was raining, so I was
okay.
happy to not be completely soggy when I got back.
Yeah, well, it's episode 2.
Episode 2. Yeah, I think episode 1 was really great. We've had a really good response.
We have had a really good response to it. I've listened to it twice myself, and there's a couple of things that I have given myself notes on, repetitiveness being one of them, and also talking without taking a breath or leaving you a gap is another. So I'm going to try really hard this time and not monopolise the conversation entirely. But yeah, it was really good. I've had really good feedback. One of the feedback things that I've had as well is that people going, oh, I've started listening to it. So I think what I might have to do is a sort of little tactic here is promise something at the end. So people have to like start listening to it and then get to the end. Maybe
That's
like a real pearl of wisdom or something will be right
at the end of every episode. You reveal a dark secret about yourself.
I don't know if I've got any dark secrets that people don't already know. Maybe a dark secret about bridal or something. So
okay, well, keep listening to the end of this one, and you never know what you'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to recap why we've called it The Lovely Job.
Yes, we are. One of the really fun bits of feedback I think I had is from lots of other retailers who have liked our Instagram post promoting it, and they commented on the name, because it obviously is not just me that's heard the comment, usually from like brides' mums, saying this must be a lovely job. Everyone is so happy all of the time. So I guess I was going to just use that as a title so that I could maybe reclaim a bit of the industry, give you some behind the scenes information. And it is a lovely job, but it is just like any other fantastic job, it is a job. And so it comes with a lot of commitment and responsibility. So that's why we've called it Lovely Job.
And I think the format we used last week worked quite well. We had the lovely things and then we had the not so lovely things. So we'll go in today with your lovely things.
Right, lovely things. Okay, so one of the lovely things that all bridal shop owners love to do is trade buying, and we have got a new label that's come into the store this season called Divine Atelier. They are based in Romania, so I believe their main store is in Bucharest, but the garments get made in Brasov. A lovely family-owned company, and beautiful make so far, very obliging, and quite a lot of the dresses, which is very unusual, are made in pure silk and silk line. So they not only look stunning, but they feel very luxurious as well. But however, that all sounds very businessy. So what you always want from a new label is when a dress drops and you go, oh my God, get into my life. This is the most amazing thing. So we have had such a dress from them this week. It's actually a 2-piece. It's the Lola corset and the caro skirt. It is literally heaven in fabric. So let me talk you through how fantastic it is. Right, firstly, everyone that I've had has been made to put it on, regardless if they want it or not. They've had to have it on. If only I didn't have this kind of like oath of secrecy about what people look like when they try on dresses. I might privately share a few pictures with you, but oh my God, it's just a goddess dress. So imagine a Jean Paul Gaultier perfume bottle mixed with a kind of beautiful courtesan look. So it's probably a bit sexy, actually, if I say so myself. So it's got top stitch boning. It's got it's that kind of new directional drop V waist. It has got little hip shaping bits on it, which Mama Rue would be really happy about. And I've actually had it with a very retro lace-up back, and I haven't had a lace-up back dress in the shop for maybe 10 years. So it's got metallic eyelet lace-up back, although you can have it with buttons or a zip. And then it's got the most beautiful kind of buttery, soft silk draped front skirt. Very slim, very 90s again. I sold things like this from a now retired designer, Rick Westenius, in the 90s. But oh my God, it's just so lovely. And we were putting it on people and cinching it in, and it's just such a moment. Nobody's ordered it yet, but it only came in on Friday. So, but if there was a chance for me to put it on someone, I absolutely did. So that is a lovely thing, a lovely dress from a lovely company. So yeah, very, very happy about that.
Amazing. I can't wait to see it on some real brides.
You will love it. I might even, while we're talking, just WhatsApp you a picture of it on some real brides, just so you can see and be like, oh, yes.
I feel like I want to try it on myself now.
Oh, it's very you. It is very you. Absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
and you've had some models in the shop last week as well.
I have indeed. We are planning a shoot for the 7th of October. It's quite interesting. There's not really. I'm trying to keep it very Miss Bush, which I know sounds a bit weird, because you'd think that most of the things that we do creatively are very Miss Bush. But sometimes I'm trying to make a really big illustrative point when I style a shoot. And this one is really trying to dig deep into what we believe Miss Bush does well, what our brands do well, that we stock, and how we style our brides. So there is quite a Miss Bush look. But on the other hand, we want to strongly lean in and help each bride to find their own sense of style and their, the version of themselves they're bringing to their wedding. So this one is very, very Miss Bush. So I did a casting. I'm always slightly terrified about casting. Models quite scare me. And I famously like to work with people that I'm really comfortable and familiar with. So new models that's quite a scary thing. But Chloe, who we use a lot, we're doing a special project with her coming up over the next year. So I really want to kind of keep her for that special project. Amy, who I've also used a lot, has been very associated with the Nautier brand. So I kind of wanted to step away from that. So I actually had to do a casting. So I got 2 completely beautiful models turned up this week. They were both Scandinavian. We had Rebecca and Maya, really fantastic models, really so lovely. And they brought their knitting with them as well, because they're Scandinavian. And apparently that's what you do between things, is you knit, which is really good, because I've had some models which I've had in the past where when you're not actually taking a photo of them, they are literally glued to their phone and not really in the room. So it was really lovely to meet 2 new models that we're going to be using one of them for this particular shoot, but I'm going to find a reason to use the other one. I'm not saying which one is which yet, because I need to confirm it. They probably need to know it as well. So yeah, I did that casting, and I use this comparison quite frequently in the shop, in appointments with clients, thinking about models and casting, because it's a very useful way for me to help a bride dress themselves. Because when I'm looking for a model, I'm not just looking for people that can knit or are nice. I am actually looking for a woman that can visually transmit a message that speaks about a mood or a style or a moment, and also is fearless in front of the camera, can look down the lens of the camera and own that image. I mean, we could all get very philosophical about the male gaze and things here, but I also know I'm producing images primarily for the female gaze. So it's really important to me how I project that as well. I want my models to look fiercely independent, intelligent, and sharp before I want them to look sexy or alluring. So I've got this kind of very strong female look that I always want to try and get. So when I'm casting, that's what I'm looking for. What message are these guys transmitting to me? What are they going to transmit to the bride looking at them? So when I have real brides in, and this is kind of like weird because I am heterosexual, but I have to find what I can get a girl crush on, what I love, how I think I could use them, how I could cast them. If they didn't have a choice, if they didn't get a say in what they would wear, what would I put them in? And it's quite an interesting way of maybe surprising some brides sometimes, maybe holding a mirror up to them and showing them beautiful things about themselves that they didn't really know or were too self-effacing to acknowledge or to, I think, obviously we've got so many topics around body image and confidence and those kind of things, but really, so I think that way of me looking at someone and think, if I sent you down a runway, what would you be wearing? And that comes up with some quite interesting results. It's not so much like I am going to project what I think. Having just said, I'm just contradicting that I put that corset on everyone, whether they wanted it or not. But this is within that context. It's just maybe surprising people and showing how they could look through somebody else's point of view. And I think if you look at, really famous stylists like Law Roach and his relationship with Zendaya, he's an absolute kingmaker. She's become iconic worldwide because of a partnership between him and her. The same thing with Harry Lambert and Harry Styles. Harry Lambert also stars Emma Corrin. So I would love that kind of point of view, that sort of gender blurring, non-binary point of view that a stylist can bring. So I think it's really interesting sometimes to work when I'm doing a wedding dress appointment to look really like a stylist at that person, look like it's a bit like a casting, look at what you're bringing out of someone that perhaps needs a bit of a polish or it needs to be out in the open. So it's really fun. So I kind of love that. But yeah, so it was really good to meet two new models. Lovely. And it is very good to be able to illustrate how and why I put some people in some things.
Yeah, and this is a good point to say that whenever we get requests for shoots, we will always insist on a model fitting. You won't ever send a dress out without knowing that it fits, and that's all part of it, isn't it? Just making sure the dress is.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't know that I've seen that much content created. I got a request from someone last week before, and they got a 5'4" size 6, and I'm like, unless I was there on the shoot, I would worry how our dresses and our brands were being represented, because anything that doesn't look great actively undermines our brand and our designer brand. So I'm extremely fussy to the point of annoyingly hideous, and I reserve the right to not share images or ask for us not to be tagged in things. It's so important. I just can't express how important it is. I don't even mind if people wreck dresses. That's never the thing. It's really the terrible like fit on some things, or like some things that I've had back where I've asked really specifically for like certain dresses don't look as great sat down. Do you know what I mean? Or like they would look lovely if you sat down to eat in them for your wedding reception, but just generally lounging across a sofa looks shocking. So I'm quite picky, shall we say? But I think exacting is important.
Yes, I think so. I think that's good. It's a good way to be.
Yeah.
Okay, what other lovely things have you got to tell us?
Just like a little minor favourite thing of mine, I had two completely stunning redheads in this week. I very much like my model casting. I literally, and the minute I see like a redheaded bride, I absolutely swoon. And we really need to cast a redheaded model soon. I mean, just perfect, like just pale skin and freckly and looking like they should be marrying Jon Snow. I mean, so good. And you can just play with all these iconic, like, redhead imagery, whether you're going for that kind of Nicole Kidman look, whether you're going for sort of a Julianne Moore, whether you're doing a sort of, like a Florence Welsh, just being able to play, or even a Chapel Rowan, even just being able to play with that sort of iconic look. I love it so much. So very much, like, thank you to my 2 redheaded brides this week who may have thought I was a little bit too excited to dress them. Really good fun.
I have been desperate for another redhead shoot model ever since we did where was it, Dunsborough Park, the Boudica one?
Do you know what I was looking for the other day and I absolutely couldn't find it? Is the video for that. I just love that video so much.
I think that was so before we had YouTube, so I think maybe I need to look for that and
I know
get it onto YouTube.
I couldn't find it in Dropbox or anything, so I just loved that shoot so much. We had such fun.
I'll have to put that in the show notes.
Show notes.
Oh, and just to add for anybody who is wondering about the show notes, they're on our blog. We're going to put them on the blog every week, the afternoon after the podcast comes out, so I have time to write it, and then we'll put it in the monthly newsletter as well. So if you're on the mailing list, there'll be a little roundup in the newsletter, which you can join on the website.
Absolutely. So we can reference all sorts of things. I mean, because we are not scripting this, so we don't quite know where we're going, and I didn't realise I was going to reference that video. I think it's quite good that we can put a permanent link to it somewhere. So what else have I done? What else has been lovely this week? I tell you what was lovely was a lovely random hot day. And I know this is going to really annoy you, Leah, because when you came to stay in the summer, the weather was crap.
Right until the very last moment, we got a tiny bit of sun.
I know. So, the weather, I just had a really blissful, hot, random 26 degrees. I mean, the weather is so chaotic. One has got to be feeling quite Greta Thunberg about the weather, I have to say. It's like we had torrential rain overnight. And of course, that always terrifies me because it's flood season. Like September, almost this time last year, the chapel flooded. So I am nervous. I mean, I'm assured that Surrey County Council, Guildford Borough Council and Marshy's floodgates he's put up are going to protect us should that happen. But nevertheless, rain in the middle of the night just does provoke a little bit of anxiety in me. However, aside, this week it was so lovely and sunny that I ignored a whole load of housework and things I should be doing and just put my book in my bag, went down to the sea, had a lovely swim. I was the only person in the sea, and then had a 99.
Oh, it sounds gorgeous.
And read my new book, which is the Avocado Hotel Avocado.
Ooh, the new Bob Mortimer.
Yeah.
I want to read that.
It's a follow-up to the Satsuma Complex.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so in the show notes, there we go.
Put that on Emma's reading list.
On my reading list at the moment. So I had that with a 99, which is kind of cool because half of that, both the Satsuma Complex and Hotel Avocado, set in Brighton. So pebbly beaches and seagulls all around, basically.
Oh,
so,
perfect.
Very good. So that was a lovely little kind of bonus kind of thing about living by the sea. And I've also, the other lovely things, or I would say quite funny things that I've done this week, I've been to 3 comedy things. So I went to a drag pub quiz at the Vaults in Southsea. That was very funny. Quite bonkers. And there was some singing, which was absolutely mad.
From you?
So,
Did you sing?
There was a bit from me, absolutely. Well, everyone was singing along, actually, to be fair. So, there was a bit of singing along. I would only sing along in the crowd because my singing voice is so rotten. That's the only time you're quite likely to see me doing it. And then we also went to an evening with Graham Norton, King's Theatre in Southsea. So that was very good. He's also got a book out as well called... got a free copy of it. Anyway, they gave us a free copy of the book. And then as we were walking to go and just grab a drink afterwards, people were like standing by the stage door. So I thought, I'm going to stand by the stage door too. I am going to get my book signed. So I have never stood by a stage door ever before waiting for an autograph. And it is like another play in its own right. It's like being in a little Alan Bennett skit where there are professional stage door hangers who, and particularly one old lady, who was literally regaling everyone with tales of everyone that she's ever got an autograph from. And so there was definitely there's a stage door, rupee thing going on. So, and then they were also talking about people that hang outside stage doors to get autographs, even if they haven't been in to see the performance. Anyway, so I got a book. In fact, I got 2 books because obviously they gave you a free book each. I really should Google this, but I don't want to be so unprofessional as to kind of look down on my phone and Google what his book's called right now while I'm doing this. But it's about an elderly Irishwoman living in East London, slightly based on his mother, as far as I know. Anyway, I know the subject of it. So got that signed, and I've got I don't think my sister's ever going to listen to this, because years ago I told her if she ever wanted to do a drama about a wedding dress shop, she should call it Lovely Job. So I don't think, she's probably, I think she's moved on from that. But anyway, so I got one of the books signed for her because Graham Norton was the person that presented her with her BAFTA when she won a BAFTA. So I thought that was quite good. And I've got a picture of my sister with Graham Norton at the BAFTA after party. And she was saying, "Oh, you're so embarrassing. I can't even believe you're taking a photo of me." And I was like, next day, she's like, "Have you got that photo?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have, because I'm shameless." So, so that was fun. And then
so it's called Frankie, the book.
Frankie,
I did unprofessionally Google it for you.
Graham will be delighted for you.
Yes, shout out for you, Graham. You're welcome.
It was a really funny show, actually. It sort of basically recaps quite a lot of his TV, so Graham Norton and then the Graham Norton Show and things like that, and some of the most hilarious bits of it. So and also a lot of the time him hanging out with utter gay icons like Joan Rivers and Cher and Dolly Parton and things. So it was very funny to have that.
That sounds great.
And then the other venue that's very close to my house is the Wedgwood Rooms. So last night, which is why I'm a bit tired, I actually had wine on Sunday night, so I'm a bit full. We went to see a really good stand-up. The guy is called Joe Wells, and he calls himself King of the Autistics. So it's an autistic stand-up comedian, and there was it was really quite interesting, but funny, literally so funny. Honestly, I promise you don't have to be autistic or have ADHD to go, but so happened I took my autistic son, my ADHD son with me, so we were front row as well. So basically, but they did have sort of mental health safety announcements playing beforehand, which I thought was really good, because this sort of comes back to my thoughts that I'd not really articulated or really put in place before my 2 boys, they're like adult men, their diagnosis, about how you can make your whatever spaces you're inviting the public into, so like the chapel, more friendly and accommodating, and actually really encourage people to, not to kind of elevate people's anxiety or things. So I will maybe I'll forward the pictures of his sort of slides that came up beforehand to Leah, so she can actually put them in the blog post to go with this, because there's bits where he was saying there are no flashing lights, but there is some shouting. There is no unwanted audience interaction in the show, and audience members are welcome to stim during the show. So I just thought that it was a very and it was. I would encourage people to listen. He's got some clips on YouTube. One really famous one about him not having a brother who's not autistic. And it's just very funny. So I would say there's a couple of things I took away with that. A, it was a huge laugh, and B, I think it's always really important to people to really understand the possibilities of not creating a welcoming environment for neurodivergent people. And the one thing in bridal that particularly is probably, I might have put this in the not lovely one at some point, but that people lie. They lie about order times, they lie about where things are made, or they're unclear, or they put undue pressure on people. Now, I can see from one point of view that might be a sales closing technique, but from if you were putting those slightly false parameters and general lies and saying that someone that's neurodivergent, that is actually quite damaging, and that level of anxiety is not healthy. So that is the kind of thing that I'm more aware of now. I mean, I've sort of been a parent of like neurodivergent kids for obviously a very long time, but it just didn't have that kind of diagnosis, and whether the diagnosis is helpful or not is a whole nother podcast. But yeah, so that's the thing from that. So that's my lovely things this week. So that's very good.
Lovely. Well, it's been a very good week. You do so much. You're so social.
Well, that's why I moved here, though. You know, I think the thing is, where living in the Ripley and Send sort of like area for like 30 years, you know, in theory you can go to London, but in practice you don't, even though it's only a 25-minute train ride from Woking to Waterloo. You just don't do it as much, and it's expensive to get on the train from Woking to Waterloo, and it is the theatre tickets are more expensive. So this was, you know, everything I've seen this week has been very affordable. The drag bingo's this week, which I can't do. Drag quiz was £3 each. I think Graham Norton tickets were only £50 each, and we got free book each and an autograph. And the Joe Wells one, I want to say they were like £15-18. So it's actually much more accessible to access the arts and to support the arts if it's at that price point and you can walk to it. So all of those three venues, one's a pub, one's a, you know, like a gig venue, and one's an actual really beautiful Victorian theatre. So it's just nice to be able to support those institutions as well. So yeah, it was part of my reason for moving, to be honest.
Oh, it sounds amazing. I'm excited to come to your party on Wednesday.
I'm excited. Obviously, now, one thing I would say, this comes into the not lovely thing, but I can't, obviously, we all know that Marshy's actual full name is The Lovely Marshy, so which prevents him having any shade thrown at him about anything whatsoever. But given that you're coming to stay, and I was like, I really want on Sunday, I need to tidy the house, I need to do these things because I've got a very busy week coming up. What did you decide to do? Empty one of our storage units fully into the hall and the lounge, including things like a Halloween box, like of decorations that I absolutely don't think I've seen since the house before last, including stuffed bats, a giant floating like ghost which you can hang in a tree, like glow in the dark skeletons. I mean, I'm like, good that he found it at like, you know, Halloween season. But I was like, all I've managed to do so far is make up the bed for you. So the rest of the house looks like an absolute tip.
That's okay. I'm happy to dig for a box of Halloween decorations.
I know you are. It's like, hello, it's goth season.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely. So, which is good. And I found things like, it must have been from a party, because I'd got like orange table runners and like black and orange hand towels and all sorts of things. So it was a real kind of like party stuff. So yeah, like Less Than Lovely was having to deal with a completely storage unit thrown into the house. So I'm like, good. No, the other not lovely thing for this week, and I forgot to say at the beginning of this, I haven't heard someone come to the door, but my iPhone completely broke. Now, I went through all the patronising from everyone. We're like, did you drop it? No. Oh, you probably just need to clean out the like charging port. Yeah, I've done that. You probably don't need to use those rubbishy Amazon chargers. Yeah, I did that too. And I bought then I bought Apple branded chargers. My phone was not charging. I mean, the literal disruption to my life, I actually can't tell you. So like, I've got another iPhone because we have one at work. So I can use this as a phone and to look at work emails, and that is it. I can't do anything. I can't, oh, and I literally logged into Instagram, but I can't log into Threads. So, okay. So yeah, that has really, like, you can't, I had to put shopping in a trolley yesterday and go through a checkout. Because all my my Tesco card and my Waitrose card are on my phone, and so I couldn't like self scan, so I had to go through a checkout like an old lady. Yeah, the woman in front of me actually had a wheeled trolley. I was like, this is what it's like.
This is life now.
And I had to pay with an actual card as opposed to my phone. And I went for a run yesterday by the sea, and I'm so like tragically addicted to my sort of like my fitness apps and things like that. I don't know how fast I went. I don't know what time my splits were. It hasn't registered on my calorie burn. You know, it's like on my Fitbit app, I don't know how I slept. This is ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how I slept. Just like, well, you know how you slept probably really badly because you had wine and you woke up really early when Marcia got up from work at 5, had a cup of tea and went back to sleep. That's how you slept. But honestly, I really like my Fitbit to tell me that.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. I don't know how you've managed.
I know, it's been really, really and get in the car. No, I can't access Spotify. And also what I realised is a load of my logins for things are like, my Apple account has got an old BT Internet like email address attached to it that I don't know how to get into. And then when I tried to log into my iCloud email address, which is what I more commonly use on my laptop, it needed to send it something to my phone. I was like, this is horrific. And Marshy was taking the mick out of me a bit. And I'm like, honestly, this isn't roofing. This is how I do my job.
Yeah. So well, mine's got authenticator apps for so many things on my phone.
Yeah.
Like all the work things. It needs my thumbprint.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally like not the end of the world, clearly, and it's clearly quite a first world problem. But I realised how beholden I am to this. And even with things like, you know, just checking the bank account to see if a client's paid for something, to see if an appointment's been confirmed. I look at my banking app probably about 20 times a day. So yeah, no, that's happened. Really annoying.
No. I went to London recently and I was terrified of having my phone stolen the entire time because I would have been stranded. I don't know any phone numbers off by heart anymore. All my money's on there, my travel, my train tickets, everything. And I was terrified.
Yeah.
I had a bum bag in front of me so I wouldn't lose it.
I know. And also we're like a real anxious, like, I don't live in London, so I'm clutching my possessions really close to me.
Every time I looked at it, I was like holding it to the side.
Also, given that I'm having this birthday party on Wednesday, and I've invited a whole load of fairly new friends that probably don't know I don't have my phone, the only option I gave them to RSVP was WhatsApping to that phone.
Oh no.
I know. So if no one turns up, I have an excuse that it's not that I'm like terribly unpopular, but like they couldn't get hold of me to tell me why they couldn't come. Oh, but yeah, it literally is that anxiety level has been off the scale. So yeah, that is like, if there's anybody's listening to this and they think, well, she's very rude, she hasn't replied to my WhatsApp. It's like, no, I haven't.
Oh, so if the doorbell rings, that's your new phone arriving.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, I have no idea.
Your deal is almost over.
Yeah, quite.
Well, another not so lovely thing I'm going to introduce, whilst we're talking about online things, is that we have a YouTube channel. You might be watching this on there. We haven't really used it a lot. I tend to I'll upload videos kind of as a token and then we'll just leave them. And I didn't realise until recently that one of them went a bit viral. And it's the same one that went viral on TikTok with the simple dress, adding capes and sleeves to it. But one of the reasons it went viral is that there are hundreds of comments, but quite a few of them were about you and about your personal style. And I thought it would be interesting to read some of them to you, and then you can kind of give your reaction. So one of the comments said, she has the exact outfit on that I wore to birthday parties in 1968 when I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
Why would you let someone who dresses like a 6-year-old design your wedding dress? Her ideas are good. Why doesn't she do something about her own style? And this one's my favourite. I totally agree with you. I'm just trying to figure out if she's the older version of one of the twins from The Shining or Wednesday from The Addams Family.
Oh my God. I literally love that. But literally, it's almost like they saw inside my head when I put that outfit on. Because bizarrely, and I probably could find the photos, because one of the things that Marshy got out of the storage unit was every photo that I've ever had. There is a photo somewhere of my mum and I wearing matching black velvet dresses, probably in the late 60s. I think it's not with, I probably did have lace tights on, but maybe, I think it was black velvet with maybe a lace collar. So basically, yes, you're right. I did look like that in the 60s myself. So I was a little child and I was dressed in black velvet, matching my mum. Really adorable. And I would be very happy to be Wednesday Addams as well, and probably one of the kids from The Shining. So I'm literally
Come play with it.
The thing is that I literally, we're such goths. I love that because also, like, if I do take risks with what I'm wearing, I famously use the phrase, which is very bad actually. I wouldn't let anybody else use it about themselves. The muttometer, i.e. the mutton meter. Like, and I've always like, how am I ringing on the muttometer today? So, but I've actually I probably do less of the mutton thing and more of the, like, it's quirky and it's me, it's what I like to wear. I was like, there was obviously there's the famous Oscar Wilde quote, which is like, one thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about. So I would rather somebody actively dislike what I'm wearing than not notice what I'm wearing. I think that I've always used dressing up as a bit of a deflection. And aging's a weird thing. Like, I have terribly yesterday when I've got a ring light still not working. We're not there on this ideal setup yet, but I was doing something and I actually went, I wonder if I'd look like with a bit of a like facelift, because I was like looking down and, and I think it's a really weird thing to like think, no, I could dress more age appropriate, whatever that looks like, or more elegantly. And I've got some smart things that I could put on, or I could, I've got some nice bits from COS, like plissé kind of trousers and tops and things like that, which probably look like more like elegant, Surrey, stylishy woman in her 50s, but it doesn't really spark joy. So if I look like a bonkers goth inspired 5-year-old, happy days, that's fine. And I probably would carry on doing that. One of the people that I always loved, I think she died this year, maybe last year, Iris Apfel. So literally like the most...
You've got the glasses are quite similar.
Yeah. And she did a collection with H&M, one of those ones that went viral and sold out within 3 seconds, so you couldn't get any. But like someone who had a lifelong devotion to fashion, of not blending in, of being quite quirky. And there's another book that I really love. Is it the one that you got me? You gave me the Iris Apfel one, didn't you? But there's another book about older people being style icons. And of course, the name has escaped me right now.
I think I know what you mean.
It's called Advanced Style.
He's the photographer that goes around taking pictures of people, isn't it?
Yeah, so I will also put a link of that to the show notes where people, it's like, Advanced Style is a bit, I think it's a really interesting thing because in as much as you had the sort of first generation of people like you lived from the 60s onwards, so it's probably the boomers onwards who've like really taken a youth cult style and, have not really dropped it. So, I know loads of like Marshy's the same with his Fred Perry stuff and his mod clothes and his mid 20th century kind of things. So I do think it's like, I don't care. Yeah. And also like, I literally don't care, because if I put a value on something, it would be more my personality and my ability to wear that rather than whether I looked nice or not.
No, well, there's a comment here that you'd agree with. She has style. Is she a sheep? No. Is she her own person? Yes. Does she care whether you approve? I'm guessing hell no.
I can't be, and I'm glad you read that and not me, because I literally would be like, oh, thank you. But yeah.
Oh, and I would have just cried. If I'd read these comments about myself, I would have cried. Yes. but I do think too much, and I'd love to be able to be more confident and just wear whatever I want.
It comes with age more, but it also comes with I've always deliberately done this. And also, weirdly, I think this is quite deep. I think it's also because I've got a very binary shaped body. Like when I was young, I was slim with big boobs. I'm sort of still like slimish with big boobs, but I think so I sort of deliberately played that down. So I'd always go around in like, obviously this was the sort of 80s. So you really actually did have to like raid Granny's wardrobe and charity shops because there absolutely wasn't anything else to wear whatsoever. But I did wear like old man coats and things and boots and never tried to look pretty or sexy or anything like that. So I think that probably if I was a teenager now, or maybe, I know this sounds quite, I don't know, but maybe I would have gone very much more non-binary in the way I looked. I'm fairly secure in my sexuality, but I always found it burdensome to have a very obviously female body. That sounds weird, but then it was the 80s as well. So like people would comment, would grab your boobs, would pin your bra strap. So it's like maybe that was just a defense mechanism as well. So that's probably how and why part of my style has evolved.
I love that. Okay, right. So we're going to move on to another not lovely comment, and it's about copying.
Yeah. I mean, okay, if you're actually not in the wedding industry and you have no interest in the wedding industry, maybe everything looks the same. I could see that as a thing. I have one line that I use when I'm looking at two quite similar dresses on a bride and saying, yeah, like if you were your average straight man, they couldn't tell the difference between these things. But in the industry, we can. Like, we're really clear about who designed what first, who innovates, who pushes the kind of looks forward, who can make things beautifully, and so I know where those looks originated. I am really disappointed in a big company, a bridal company called Ellis, who are, in theory, they are saying that they're a really long established British company, but everyone that I ever knew that worked there seems to have gone and moved on. So they are a big manufacturing company. Their production is done in China, or it was done in China. I'm assuming it's still Far East now. And there are really, really good things that Chinese and Indian manufacturers do well, predominantly beading. So anything's highly decorative is particularly hugely skillful stuff, like the Eliza Jane Howe dresses, for example, genuinely hand beaded in India. And you should maybe have a look at some of their behind the scenes stuff of their Indian production because it's so good. So Ellis, though, have got Chinese production. So, but what they don't have is an original point of view, because I just looked at their Instagram feed, and it's basically they've just ripped off Jesus Sparrow, and it's not just we've followed the trend of like more minimalist looks. They've literally got Jesus Sparrow's absolute signature collar dress with the same back straps as we've got 2 or 3 styles like it, and I'm like, get your own ideas. Like, literally get your own ideas. Really, really triggering, because I just think you're a big company. You've got access to really good manufacturing and specialists in particular looks, decorative looks, things like that. It's just like, you're not even adding anything to the conversation about bridal style. You are just trying to grab market share, which is pretty hard these days, because we are in a contracting market for bridal wear. As the trends change, like traditional wedding dress market has contracted quite a lot over the last 30 years, and will continue to do so. So that really ticks me off, because hire a designer, do some cool stuff, and move it forward, because that isn't cool. And when you take a signature high collared, like the original, like that dress has been through Jesus Sparrow's collections forever, and it's like Chanel's like interlinked C's, or a Gucci kind of horse bit. It's part of that designer's DNA, and it's shabby, low, and lazy to like rip it off. I mean, I've seen another sort of dressmaker designer put something out on her Instagram feed and say, oh, this is my new dress. And it's like, is it though? Or is it Jesus Sparrow? because it looks like Jesus Perret to me. And I know that, you know, people are always sometimes going to find a relationship with a dressmaker that they like, and they might get her to go and make them a dress that looked a bit like a Jesus Perret that they tried on. Fair enough. It's happened forever. It's annoying, but, you know, it's every bride's right to choose to buy where she wants to buy, where she feels comfortable, and get whatever service that it is that she would like. So I'm happy that dressmakers, you know, do that if they want to. To my mind, they can't make them as well because they haven't actually got the patterns. So they look like an approximation. But okay, if that's what the bride wants, they're comfortable. But don't call it your design. Don't call it your design. It's not your design. I can tell you where you've got that from, and it's not yours, particularly when it has that very deep cummerband that Jesus Perret put in about 6 or 7 seasons ago. And I've seen that come up in a few people's collections. But, you know, like, you're a dressmaker, you're a modiste, you do think, you know, just make dresses. Don't claim something that you clearly didn't imagine as your own. That's my kind of thing. It's like, there is so much like creativity to be found and to had in our industry that I just think copying is.
So if a bride comes to a dressmaker and says, I want you to do a copy of this, and they go ahead and do it, do you think maybe they should credit? Do you think they should say this is inspired by this?
I think that you sometimes see in like blog posts, or I've seen it like, you know, not specific bridal shops blog posts, but like a bigger, you know, rock my wedding, love my dress kind of blog post, where people have said, oh, I'm going to a dressmaker for this, you know, to come, and like I couldn't find what I wanted, so I combined 2 dresses. So I don't. It's a funny area because I think it's like quite often if you have, I've had more than one bride who's come back after having had a dressmaker make a dress or copy something or blend 2 styles together, and it's been a total disaster. And like sometimes you can get 2 really good selling dresses and you think, oh, I know what would look nice. It's a hybrid between these, and it actually doesn't work at all. So, I mean, we've had the experience of that, and so have our designers. So we know how we can hybridize things. I just, it's a mystery to me, but I think dressmaking, and that personal one-to-one service, people might feel more comfortable with that. And there's not much I can do about that. But yeah, copying, generally, I would have thought, particularly how much it costs to actually employ a seamstress in the UK, I wouldn't even think that you would be getting much better value for money. And the thing that would worry me most is that really, unless you could take a dress apart and actually cut a pattern from those pieces and put it back together, it's not going to look like the original. I mean, Suzanne Neville, I mean, you could never copy one of her dresses. That would be a dark. Oh, mind you, loads of people have. I mean, the amount of rip-offs of Amber I've seen, like square neck, architectural shoulders, long sleeves, slim dress.
Coast did one,
yeah,
It
absolutely.
was awful.
Yeah, and Kate Halfpenny did one. I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's Suzanne Neville's Amber, isn't it? So, but they don't look as good, and they don't look like the original. And to actually, you know, we've got that film that I made with Suzanne a few years ago, and she, you know, these patterns are something she's evolved and engineered over, you know, 30 years of her career. They change like incrementally, but really that core like ability to cut and create those things are completely unique to her. She's so highly protective of her methods and techniques, and why wouldn't you be? Do you know what I mean? That's your livelihood. It's really important. This isn't just like when you get like a supermarket cereal, which is really the same as another cereal because they're all made in the same factory. This is literally like, it won't be the same unless it's made by that person. So yeah, I am all over it, and I don't think it's cool, but you know, there we go. We would never copy anything. No. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's a fib. No, I'm getting hands up. One of the pairs of sleeves that we've got in that video do look remarkably like Danielle Frankel. However, and just in my defense, Danielle Frankel is one of a number of designers that does a handcuffs deal with Brown's brides, and I would, you know, love to buy some of her dresses, but we can't. They have a UK exclusive, so I'm just going to make the sleeves. They're different enough not to be an actual rip-off. And I have acknowledged with everyone the creative inspiration for that because I think she's great.
Yeah, I love those sleeves.
They are slightly inspired, definitely. So yeah, hands up, I did that. But I didn't pretend it was my idea.
No.
They're not. It's definitely not my idea. Full credit where credit is due on that one. But also, I do have a dress from years ago that's also got those sleeves on, so they're not actually original in the first place.
No, exactly. Everything comes from somewhere else.
Yeah, it's very postmodern. We're just ransacking past cultures and vibes to actually create new collections. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Nautier dresses. They were inspired by your first wedding dress.
Yeah.
Weren't they?
I mean, absolutely. We took the proportions of the schiffer dress directly from my 1993. When did I get married the first time? Three. That my early 90s wedding dress, basically. So to make sure that we got the proportions of that long V absolutely perfect. And it's quite interesting. What we did take off that dress when we remade it was that my original dress had a long V corset and then a lace frill around the bottom with black lace and then dangling beads hanging off it. 90s. But I actually saw that Reem Aradoki got married, who's a French designer who again is like exclusively stocked in the UK by not us. But she got married at the weekend last week, and she had like a drop V lace corset with a lace frill dangling off it. And I was like, hey, that's like my 90s dress. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a sort of, there isn't that much new you can do, but hers was a completely fresh take on it. So I think it's always, hers moved from frill to almost peplum, I thought. So
I'll link to that in the show notes.
Yeah, to the show notes. So that's so that's my kind of week so far, the goods and the bads. This coming week is so busy. I've got loads to do, which we will cover next week, but I'm really excited for you to be down here.
I can't wait, and I really hope the sun comes out.
We can always go for 99 for breakfast anyway, even if it's pouring with rain. So, yeah.
Okay. We've covered all of our topics.
Yes, that's quite good. I don't think that was as repetitive.
No, I don't think so.
I did say to some people, like, I found out who gave us one of the 5-star reviews I saw on Saturday.
Oh,
yeah.
Who was that?
She's called Hannah.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, a bride?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, no, it's not just us giving ourselves 5-star reviews. Yep.
No, so if you do enjoy the podcast, please give us a 5-star review.
Yeah. And also, I have had a question, and I'm going to thank the questioner, but the question was so extensive. It is about sustainability. Again, you might imagine I have opinions. So we are going to, what we'll do is I would like to get some contributors on that. I'd like to really do some much more in-depth research. So I'm not just going to do it off the cuff, because I would like to get statements from my designers about things, and I would like to see if anyone would actually join us as a guest on that. So Megan, I know it was you that asked that question. It's coming, but it's going to be a more thorough look at sustainability in bridal wear.
Yeah, I think that could be just a one-off special in-depth thing that we dig into, because we could just talk for hours about that, couldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. But if anyone has got any other questions, shallow or otherwise, style, or about anything that we do in either from in the industry or from actual brides, then do let us know. I'd be really happy to answer them.
Yeah, if you see anything, you could just send it to us and say, what did you think about this? Or if there's a real wedding that's happened, a celebrity wedding, ask for Emma's comments, anything like that. You can DM them, or you can email us, hello@missbush.co.uk.
Yay. Well, we wrap it up then. Look at us. Being
Yes.
fantastically organised on a
Under an
Monday
hour.
morning. I know.
Perfect.
Right.
Okay. We still haven't thought of a sign-off. See you next Monday.
Oh, see you on my birthday. That's what's happening this week. See you Wednesday. It's my birthday. Cards welcome. Miss Bush, if anyone wants to send me one. Buy me a drink. Anyway, all right. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Right, see you on Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye.